A very good morning to you this last Saturday before Christmas.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were going to say last Saturday of the year. No.
No, slow down, slow down. And welcome to Sunrise. I'm Alero Edu.
Good morning and welcome. I'm Neota Egbe. It's...
And welcome back.
Yeah.
We missed you last
I missed
weekend.
you too. I missed everyone. But hey, Alero, today, this Saturday, is the Saturday before Christmas. I'm just imagining what Christmas will be like. Someone told me yesterday, said, I haven't felt Christmas this much in the last couple of years. And I was like, come to think of it.
Well, then, I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Because last week, we said we were not feeling Christmas.
Oh, but I'm feeling Christmas.
No.
Christmas is in the air. It's like the weather's changed. I mean, it's colder somewhat.
Well, it's very hot during the day. It's cool at night.
Exactly.
And people are leaving town in droves.
In spite of climate change.
And in spite of no money.
It's not about, no, Alera, it's not about the money. It's about the fact that I'm going to see my people.
The season.
It's
not family time.
Family time.
Yes.
That is it. Family time, yeah. And it's just awesome.
It is.
You know, I got to see an aunt of mine. I'm older than her, but I got to see.
Okay. Small auntie.
Small auntie. So I got to see her yesterday after almost 10 years. It's like, wow, it felt good.
Yeah.
And all of that. So it's just...
I'm coming to work this morning. Oh, my God. People.
Oh, you didn't start today.
People.
Alera, the droves yesterday.
Well, let's just say that most offices closed down yesterday for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's the word influx. What's the opposite of that?
Outflux.
So the outflux began this morning, and you could feel it coming this way because of the traffic jam.
And I think a lot of people chose to leave yesterday evening, stop off around Shagamu or Ore and sleep over. Okay. Then early this morning take up, because some people are concerned about the congestion that usually happens between Lagos and Shagamu Ore and all that. So, but then there's the alternate route via Ekpe, and I also think people using the road should also look in that access. It will make it a lot easier. Then if you don't have to travel, you don't have to travel.
Well, so some of us have to keep Lagos going.
Yeah.
Traveling into Lagos
to
spend Christmas in Lagos.
Plenty. So you find out that you go to all these fun spots that are usually jammed. I can imagine what it would be like this period.
You should see what is on Osborne Road. Like every 100 yards, there's some little billboard of some action. I think from Christmas Day.
No.
Somebody is having a show every night.
Hello. It began on the 16th.
Every night.
16th of December. Okay. Every night. 16th of December all the way to, I think, 28th.
Somebody's having a show on the 30th.
Okay. So for those that are show people that attend shows, you have your night. You could spend
spoiled for choice.
You could stay awake all through till okay. No, guess what? So do all the shows, and then 31st of December you go to church. Sober up. Say, oh God, thank you for keeping us. Now we're going to a new year. We commend our lives into your hands, and then some people will not show up in church again until the next 31st.
Thank you.
But you know the beautiful thing, the fact that we're seeing this day after all that we've all gone through, everyone.
Elections and everything.
Good, bad elections and all of that. Yes, some of us have had some negative moments in the course of the year, but we're seeing this and it's reason to thank God.
But hey, that's what life is about. It can't be good all the time, and it can't be bad all the time.
I agree.
Ups and downs.
It's the beauty of it all. And then there are lessons. You draw your lessons and you move on. But
you move on.
It's also a time to look back and check my plans, my resolutions. How well did I keep up with them? I know I failed, me personally, I failed in one or two that I did not keep up with. And but I'm also saying, okay, is there a way I can, because it's about reading. There's a book I said I was going to read and finish before the year ran out, and I haven't done that. So I'm saying, okay, I have a couple of days before the year runs out. I'm going to stretch myself and finish reading that thing. If I can get the audio version of it, just pour it in, because I must finish that reading exercise, because it's also good.
You know, in radio in those days, in the features department, there's one program which was regarded as the program of the year. 1 hour, 1 solid hour, and it was called Looking Back. And when I look back at the amount of work that went into that program, because it would look at happenings in the country right from January 1 until that last day, which is 31st of December. So just imagine how much work that is. You dig dig.
We do something like that here on Channels TV.
Oh.
It shows on that last day, 31st. It's a highlight of all the major happenings and some minor ones in the course of the year. It's happening on the 31st. Alero, it is something it's nostalgic. Let me use that word. It's nostalgic. But let's look at what we have on the menu today.
Okay. Well, we were talking earlier about people leaving town. So aptly, we're going to talk about end of the year road safety.
Then we will get on to look at the act of giving. Exchanging gifts. You know, that's a series we're kind of running at this time. The art of giving.
Money matters. Ha! People overspend.
Alero.
They get 13th month or something.
No, it's fun time, so let's just spend, and then after that we can look back and say, well, how much did I spend? Do I have anything left?
Then there's school fees waiting in January.
And rent's due around the corner. Okay, but then we now look at in the midst of all the celebration, health, universal health coverage.
And then we have a very interesting artist of the week.
Oh, yeah. He's a scratcher. He's a he, and he's going to do some you know?
Don't let the cat out of the bag.
Well, okay, sorry.
She said chiki chiki, then we know who does that.
No, was there a cat somewhere? There was no cat anyway. Okay, so you make yourself comfortable. Whatever it is that makes you comfortable. A cup of tea, a cup of coffee, a cup of water, or pap, akara, or ba, as the case may be, tuwo shinkafa, whatever it is that makes you comfortable, make yourself comfortable. We'll take a moment. Oh, yes, guess what? We have a guest anchor that will be joining us in the course of the programming, so you don't want to miss that as well. So please, send your comments, your tweets. Let's know what you think. What are your plans? Our Twitter handles will be on the screen. We'll be back shortly. Stay with us.
I need you.
Welcome back. Now let's get the show on the road. It's the end of the year, and people are moving around the country, rushing wherever to spend time with their families over Christmas. After all, Christmas is the time for family. So they're traveling to their hometowns or places of vacation. So the road will definitely get busier, and when the roads get busier, what tends to happen? Accidents tend to happen. In fact, coming to work this morning, there was a dead body on the road by the Lagos Business School, and I had to call 112 to report, and it caused a heavy traffic at 6:30 this morning. You could say, okay, people refuse to use the overhead bridges where they are available, but when they are not available, what happens? People are going to try to run across the expressway, and stuff like that happens. This one happened early this morning. Somebody who probably had planned what to do over Christmas and all that was lying covered in leaves at 6:30 in the morning. Well, we have the president of the bikers in Nigeria, Mr. Nubel Barisa. Good morning.
Thank you.
Well, he's come well, half-kitted, I might say. And we also have the sector commander, Federal Road Safety Corps Lagos, Mr. Hygienus Omeje. Good morning.
Good morning.
Busy period for you, I suspect.
Can I say that again?
And from Abuja, we have Mr. Ben Atonko, board member, KRSD Trust. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us this morning. Now, let me begin with you, Mr. Omeje. It's obviously a very, very busy period for you. We all are going to be busy traveling and enjoying ourselves, but you are going to be at work. In fact, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway.
Yeah.
Case in point.
Yeah.
Bottlenecks already early this morning. What are you doing to sort things like that out, and how can people be safe this period?
Well, what we have done was we envisaged all this. We know it will be like this. So it did not take us by surprise. We created camps along this corridor where we pulled our men from other component commands that their corridors are not going to be as busy as this, and camp them there, because key to solving this problem or tackling it is early deployment. You must be there for the traffic to meet you. You must not meet the traffic. Very key. So those camps, one in Ojodu, where my office is, we have one in Mowe, we have one in Shagamu and Ogere, along that stretch of the corridor. And our personnel, we sleep there. We eat there and we wake up there, just to be sure that we are on the road on time. So what happened this morning was that as early as 4 a.m., we had a case of broken down vehicle. You know, the construction areas are still there. Yesterday, Julius Beggars was able to open between Ibafo. The Ibafo section was partially opened. Let me say 90% opened yesterday. Hitherto, we had done with the Kara end. So, but we still have between Maboro and Punch, then the Mowe axis to contain. So it happened that between Maboro and Punch, we had a broken down vehicle. Also between the Mowe axis, we also had a crash there. And with the period of clearing these obstructions and the crashes, of course, people left their houses this morning. I think as early as 3, some people have already started traveling. So it was like having so much to chew at the same time. But as I speak with you, we have been able to clear all those obstructions. If you notice that it has stretched back towards Tollgate, but it is on a steady, gradual movement. You are not in one inglorious position. You are moving. And our lawlessness is one of the things that is also complicating it. Like when I was coming here, I met 4 lanes. These 4 lanes, when we get to Maboro, is going to narrow to 2 lanes because of the construction area. And that's the same thing we have towards Mowe axis. So if only the motoring public at this time can also appreciate this analysis and these challenges, and all of us imbibe what I would call lane discipline, I think this road would be very safe for all of us to use. So no obstruction as we speak, no crash for now, but the traffic is very heavy.
Okay, talking about lane discipline and movement of vehicles and all of that, it's good that we have the bikers here. I do know someone who decided that he was going to be doing biking more because of question of traffic and lane discipline. But is it that the bikers don't have a code of lane discipline? They don't understand lane discipline. That's why people want to go into biking so that they can maneuver through traffic?
No, not really. Basically, lane discipline, what does it mean? It means your ability to respect the ethics of the road with respect to using the lanes the way you're supposed to use it. Giving the proper signaling before you switch your lanes. Now, with what we have in Nigeria now, condition of our road, the volume of traffic, and the fact that your time schedules have to be beaten, is a lot easier for a motorcycle, a bike, to go through. Because let's say we take a typical 2-lane road, 1 to and 1 fro. You have a space of like maybe 1.5 meters in between them. A car cannot go through, but the bike can go. That apart, because of time constraint too, we're looking at rate. Your travel rate is a lot easier. For instance, where I live in Port Harcourt, okay, if you live in a place like Transamadi and you go to work somewhere like downtown Port Harcourt, it's like 20 kilometers thereabout. If you're going in a vehicle and it's peak period of traffic, it will take you something like in the range of maybe 45 minutes. But with a bike, it takes you like 17 minutes.
Okay, but do bikers maintain lanes? Are they
For sure. That's what I said. Because we understand the fact that for a typical bike, but there are riders and there are bikers.
You are bikers, not riders.
Yes, no riders.
Okay.
Without, how am I going to put it? The Okada people used to say, as far as I'm concerned, most of them are riders. But for you to be a biker, you go through appropriate training to get a biking certification. And one of the key things you must learn, because unlike the vehicle that has a shield, the bike is not like that. Your safety consciousness is a lot more.
Hello, are you okay?
Yes.
And then what you're carrying is if not the most important asset of a biker. Because your center...
It's quite heavy. Well,
yes,
it's got to be
pretty
able to
heavy.
protect your skull, right?
Exactly.
And your neckline.
Your skull, your neckline. And if you notice, this is actually premium, okay? This shell is, if you notice, it's not a typical, is, what do they call it again?
Titanium?
No, not titanium. Not titanium, but it's built in, inside is coated with the TPU, what they call the TPU plastic, and the external is, what's the name of this plastic again? But the idea is that it's able to take shock, give you some compressibility without transmitting the shock to your skull. That is limitedly.
Okay, bikers, you all sometimes ride like daredevils. Is there any kind of, what should I say? Do you all have some kind of code regarding the way you ride? Like I've seen some of you when you are going out of town. There's a gang of bikers, you're traveling out, and the noise, first of all, is like it's meant to scare people out of your way. And then when the road is free, the speed, then the kinds of stunts that you all do, is that all part of biking?
You'd answer that question, which is very important when we come back from this break. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. So Barrister, you were going to answer the question about whether there's a kind of code of ethics, knowing that your bike sometimes can be distracting, especially in this festive period. The sound, the movement can be distracting. And a lot of people think that you guys actually cause the accidents many times.
No, first of all, for every bike gang or bike crew to move, there are standards. You have a road captain that leads, you have a sweeper, the last one behind it. And because we're all different and we must communicate, there are standards you use to communicate. That's one. Two, when you're moving, especially like this kind of period now, and let's say, for instance, you have, because situations arise, you lose a tire, somebody's trafficator falls off, you need to fix it. There's a proper way of doing these things. Alongside, off the shoulder. The challenge we have with bikers, or with commuters or the road users, bike normally is attractive. The moment you station bikes here, all eyes. I had an incident recently, that was like a couple of months ago. We're coming from Enugu to Port Harcourt. Somebody lost a tire, and we stopped by, all bikes off shoulder, trying to fix the tire and stuff, and then boom, from nowhere. A guy just came, he was looking at all the bikes, and before he realized, it was almost, he swung, and he ran like maybe 20 meters into the bushes. Luckily, in between the two lanes, there was a wide gap of maybe like 5 meters, and cleared like 20 meters of shrubs. The problem, in my view, is not the bikers, but the people. For the sound, for the bike, is a good thing. The statement is always, loud pipes save lives. Because the idea is, you want to be, bikes are pretty fast. You're talking of a bike that goes like, most bikes can go like 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3 seconds. Okay? And looking at that machine, if you look at the force to mass ratio, with those who know the physics, you see that it can move like that. Human reactions are not equivalent to that speed. So you need to alert people ahead of time. I need to tell you I'm coming. When you're 100 meters away, it gives you enough time to react before I get to you. That is the essence of the loud pipe, is not to cause distraction. is to
And you're
alert
revving.
the 11. Most of the time, the
I'm
trio.
coming. I'm coming.
Okay, just to make them aware.
Aware.
Okay, we're going to go to the Abuja studio to bring in Mr. Atonko, and then I'll come back to you when he talked about certification for bikers and driver's license and all of that working together. Mr. Atonko, the situation now in terms of understanding and safety at this period, what should people be doing? You've heard from the road safety, you've heard from the bikers, another road user, and you yourself. How do people react to all of these things and preparing for such a time and a lot of movements that there will be?
This thing you have mentioned, the discussion you have had there, one issue keeps coming up, the question of discipline. Discipline, road safety generally, not only on the road, has to do with discipline. How disciplined are we? How disciplined is the individual? When you're on the road, the only way you can make it safe is when you have the understanding that there are rules guiding what you're doing. And the situation is so terrible that right now, as I'm speaking here, we are planning to bury my neighbor who was traveling to Lokoja and crashed yesterday and died. So we talk about these things. The problem is like it's a pandemic. The statistics released by Road Safety Commission, Federal Road Safety Commission, only this week show that we have had up to 9,600 road crashes from January to this October. And when we hear these things, we feel it's mere numbers until it gets to you. Then you start wondering what really is happening. So we have to have a serious reorientation of ourselves. The motorist, the pedestrian, everybody has to do something, because you see, the cars we use today are not the cars we used to know. And then there are equipment also that have come. So this equipment, the cellular phone in particular, has become a huge distraction to us when we use the road. And if we do not have that discipline to know that these equipment are made for us, not we being made for the equipment, there will definitely be a problem, big problem, I tell you.
Mr. Meje, he's talked about education, more like awareness. Yeah. Now, when Mr. Bariza was talking, he mentioned that the bikers have a certification. So, see bikers or bikes, see trucks and trailers. Do the drivers of the trucks and trailers, do they get a kind of certification? Because these are the people that a lot of people say cause the traffic. They are huge vehicles, the sounds they make, and sometimes the way they maneuver on the road cause many of these accidents. So at the end of the day, do the truck drivers and the trailers get a kind of certification? And how do all these certifications that they get tie in with the driver's license? Because that's a different document altogether.
Well, that's why we have continued to engage our stakeholders who think that if you are riding, that you don't need driver's license. Every form of motorists have their own class of license. The bikers have class A license. That is where they belong. But like he said, you go the extra mile training other than what the popular commercial motorcycle riders that we call Okada do. To be honest with you, even those commercial motorcycle riders are just what I call child of necessity, and so to say, most of them just laid their hand on the bikes because they want to earn a living. These are professional bikers that you must go through their professional certification. But when they finish their training, they will still apply for the license, and they have class A. For the trucks, you said, you also notice that if you are processing the license to get the license as a truck driver, it is also different. They go or extra mile more than what you should go. We subject them to medical tests because we know the enormity of what they are carrying. They have to go to a government hospital. They have to run some tests for us, coding the eye, coding all other. Can you imagine somebody who is carrying a truck and he's an epileptic? If he has a seizure behind the wheels, how do you explain it? How you imagine somebody who is behind the wheels on a truck and is a diabetic that does not know that he's a diabetic and he enters into diabetic coma while on the descent? How do you solve that problem? So we make them to go through all those medical certifications in addition to the normal driving tests and this thing you go through. Then you now get your own class of license, which is also different.
Okay.
So these are what...
Okay. So you are, from what you have just said, you are aware that many Okada riders do not have any permits to ride those bikes. What are you doing about that?
That was why I said we keep on engaging our stakeholders. These riders, they have union. So we keep on engaging them and keep on engaging the state governments, because even now some state governments feel that they are issuing what we call rider's card, and that rider's card should as well go for a rider's license. We said no, it's not the same thing. All you are doing with your rider's card is you want to have data of people who are riding in your state, perhaps to help also for security purposes, that if anything happens, you'll be able to know where the person is coming from. But we are looking at it from the fact that professionally, the safety axis of it, you must have a license. For example, if he does not have a license, how will he crisscross from one state to the other on the critical highway as they move? So those certificates, those licenses are there. There are statutory legal requirements that you must have before you can ride. So what you've been doing is, okay, we know how you entered, but regardless of how you entered, let us straighten it. You must go and get a Class A license. And in getting a Class A license, you must meet with the VIO, you have to do a test, and all those things must be done. So that whatever that has been wrong ab initio could be corrected. Yes.
Okay.
Because we know that commercial motorcycle riding ideally will never go as a formal mode of transportation. That's why I say child of necessity. We found ourselves where we are today because there's a yawning gap because between the transport need and the transport supply.
Okay. Mr. Parizo, there are so many questions I would want to ask you, and I'm sure a lot of people want to ask you out there. But you said something earlier about bikers gang. That's what you call it, right? Or team as a kid. What do you guys call it?
Team, gang, squad.
Okay.
A group of bikers.
Okay. A group of bikers. Okay. Sometimes you see them riding around town. And I know that Mr. Atonko talked about creating awareness. Indeed, one of our viewers says there has to be sensitization to the road users, other road users, about how to react to the sound of the power bike, how to react to the bikes generally. Now, when you guys come out in your group and you're riding through town, is that some kind of awareness creation, or do you actually stop and go and talk to people about biking?
Yes. What we do, like I said, I'm going to use my own club, which is the first registered motorcycle club in Nigeria, the Hard Riders Motorcycle Club of Port Harcourt. What we do at least 3 times every year is that we print flyers. We take Q1, for instance, and we say, okay, Q1 now, we're looking at signaling. How do you use your headlamp at night? What does double flash mean to you? How long do you have to take before you can, you put on your signal before you turn? We take this in and pick one Saturday and go all out. First of all, you ride around town, because once you ride the bike, you rev the engine, people like it. They just want to, you create that, awareness, and then you stop at critical points, give them the flyers, especially commercial drivers. Because the bulk of the time, our statistics have shown that when you have issues, often at times, it's not with the private vehicle owners. Often at times, it's the commercial vehicle owners. So we make sure that 70% of their engagement time is with the commercial drivers. We talk to them, not only talk to them, give them flyers so that peradventure, we told you something you forgot, you can have a reference point.
Okay, so you actually relate with other road users as well to
Oh,
educate
sure.
them about traffic laws and safety.
All the time.
Okay. Mr. Atonko, in creating awareness, what more can we do?
Yeah, like I said earlier, this thing is a thing of the mind. If if we don't create awareness, what else can we do? There has to be proper enforcement of the law. There has to be, if somebody commits a traffic offense, there should be the willpower to properly discipline the person. Where somebody commits a law, a traffic offense, and then he flashes his identity card, and then the road safety official looks the other way, then it's not helping us. So there should be basically all over the world, the biggest tool used here is to properly enforce the law. So if you commit a traffic offense and you face the law, I think that will be a reason why tomorrow you will not do what you did today. So that is, the law enforcement is very, very critical here. And we have to, there's this question I keep asking. Somebody will say, I have been driving for 20 years. And look at the statistics of those who get killed in these crashes. They will tell you this person was licensed 40 years ago, 20 years ago. It's not by the length of time. I ask this question, how often do we even give orientation to the drivers? Look at fleet managers. They're just there in name. They don't really do the training. They don't do the training. If you have people riding, periodically, I expect that you call the motorists together and tell them this is what is involved. These are new technologies that are evolving, and this is how these new technologies impact on the way you do this business. And by the time we do that, at least we know that the basic information is there before any other thing. But we are not doing enough of this. Recently, we saw, it's only recent that we saw that one of the biggest fleets in this country started having new vehicles on the way. We used to have these monstrous vehicles, rickety ones for that matter, and they were constantly failing, crashing and crushing road users. So, and I keep asking, how well educated, how well learned are these drivers? You look at them, you ask your question. I don't want to mention the name here, but obviously, when you look at the drivers, the motorists who are moving these humongous motor vehicles, you wonder if the owners of this company really care about road safety. So the owners of fleet, it's very important for them to realize that there should be continuous training, continuous. It doesn't even if it means every year, it wouldn't be too much. You bring these people together, you tell them, hey, Jerome, you are always on the road. This is what is involved. These are new developments. We have to do this. The road safety officials have come up with new developments. How do we go with this? This is not being done. So apart from enlightenment, there has to be strict enforcement of the law. There has to be continuous training of the drivers so that they will understand the trends, the new trends in motor usage. And if we do this, I think it will be better.
Mr. Major, real quick, we're out of time, so make this real quick. Dewale Oseni says FRSC is only interested in private vehicles, while the commercial vehicles and Okada riders that flout every known traffic rules and they get away with it. That's from Dewale Oseni. Then Don Papi 007 says, please, I would like to know if I drive a power bike and also drive a car, do I have to have 2 driver's licenses? So quickly answer these 2 questions. Okay.
Okay. I want to disagree with the first one. It's his own opinion. If you go to my office now, I think I even have more of commercial vehicles impounded than private because the violations is also higher among the commercial vehicles. A private vehicle owner will not overload his vehicle the way the commercial vehicles will load and carry the plank to make the extension of the boot and put it even on top. No private vehicle owner will do that. So we know that the violations are more. Now, no private owner will speed the way the commercial one speed, so it's not true. It depends on which angle you are looking at it, from where you are standing, you want what you are looking seeing. Then on the issue of a biker and
car owner does he need two driver's licenses?
A car owner, I don't think he needs to have two licenses, but we must be sure where are your specialty. If you are riding more of the what do you call it?
The bike.
The bike, then it must be the Class A license. But if you are a private car owner, then you need your Class B license.
But he
if
needs
it is
the
just
certification for biking, doesn't he?
he needs the certification for biking. He must go.
So if he has
his certification, to start with, the very day he gets this one, he must have gotten his Class A license already. And I assume that that person with his Class A will eventually gravitate to Class B when he is going for his car. But as a professional biker, I'm sure he has his license also. He has his license. Yeah.
Do you have the two licenses, A and B?
No, I have one license. I don't know what the situation is right now, but normally, if I understood it properly, once you ride a bike, I think they have A, B, C, D, and if you're in a class like, for instance, C, it means you cover A, B, C. However, A, B, C, you must get that certification for A.
Okay, you must have the certification.
For A, you'll be a license C covers A, B, C, in addition to your A's certification.
Okay.
Like I was saying, I know that when he started with A as a bike rider.
Okay.
Then as you graduate, one overrides the other.
We have to go. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's a good place to leave it, and I hope that people will try and keep safe this season, because this is a season of accidents, as there's plenty of movement around the country. I'd like to thank the Sector Commander, Federal Road Safety Corps Lagos, Mr. Hyginus Omeje, for coming, as well as the President, Bikers in Nigeria, Mr. Nobel Bariza, and the board member, KRSD Trusts, Ben Atonko, who spoke to us from our studio in Abuja. Thank you all very much, gentlemen, and we wish you all a Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Yes, I come in peace. No peace.